Let me just tell you how much I long for a trip to Japan. I just watched a couple of travel videos in Japan filmed by Japanese, which is different from travel videos done by foreigners. I'm Japanese. I understand this man's soul. I understand it. I can feel it. And it speaks to me. The forests, the rivers, the nature, the sky, the mountains, the rivers. It speaks to me. And it reminded me in my 20s when I romanticized going back to Japan and living there and fully getting to experience all the nature, the life, the culture, and taking my girl there. And at the time when I took there, I remember that being one of the highlights of why I wanted to go there. And living there was difficult, of course, and we were young and we didn't have careers. We were just starting out. So everything was hard and it took a lot of effort just to be there. So we didn't fully get to experience that time. But I was lucky to take me for the second time just to go on a vacation where we just traveled. We just drove around Japan and we got to experience a little bit more. And I'm thinking like, in a lifetime, you're going to do a bunch of things. You're going to try to establish your life. You're going to make some money. You're going to have a family. You're going to try to put a roof over the family's head and eat and clothes. And you're going to send the kids to school and they're going to grow and you're going to love your wife and you're going to get old. And that's what you hope for. But along the way, you have to go through a lot of things to accomplish that. You have to learn, you have to take chances, you have to experience things, you have to fail, you have to win. You go through a lot. You might change careers. You're going to get promoted. You may get fired. Who knows? Life is full of surprises. So, you don't know what's going to happen, but you hope for the best. And at the end, in a man's life, maybe you get this one thing, right? Like, for example, I get to take a woman that I love, to experience this spirit of Japan, the spirit of it, the soul of it. The shrines, the spirit, the forest, the rivers, the nature, and just how much the culture is so immersed in this way of thinking, in the spirit of Japan, that I think is so fucking valuable in the world. It's a treasure. Maybe every culture, they all feel the same way about their own culture, but I just feel Japan is so special. It's just so special. Just the way that things are taken care of. Just how much spirit is put into everything that is done there. And having the chance to take a woman that I love to Japan and travel around the country, imagine in a van or some type of vehicle where we can comfortably live inside, like a van life. Imagine van lifing in Japan. Can you imagine? And I'm sure that it exists. If I make enough money, I can rent a van, a beautiful van that is pimped out, fully loaded, and I can take a girl on that type of journey. And in a man's life, if I can do that, that will be a highlight. And I have done this one thing that I know that I want to do. And if I can have family with this woman, and she appreciates Japan, she understands this one thing in my life that is so meaningful to me. And I meet a woman like that, and I take her to show her what that's about. She sees it, she loves it, she feels the spirit, she understands. And this woman becomes the mother of my children. What else would I want? Really? And of course, I'm just saying this out loud now. I am 40 years old. And I'm speaking about it. And I've also reflected and recalled this experience I had with my ex-girlfriend, because I realized, at the time, as a younger man, I was living that, right? I was living that dream, but I didn't have the wisdom, okay, of how time is going to change me as a person. What I didn't understand at the time, as somebody in my late 20s and in the early 30s, and I still hadn't known some things. How in a man's life, really, what I was experiencing at the time is really the most beautiful, most profound experience that a man can have. It's everything that I wanted. But I didn't have the foresight, I didn't have the experience, I didn't have the wisdom to understand how profoundly rich I was at the time. And I imagine if I had known, I would have done everything in my power to get financially secure. And it would have been so much easier with a girl with me. We are sharing all the costs. We're living together. We're helping each other. We're building something together. And as we both grow and I become more financially stable and I become more financially able, a dream like that actually could have been possible, right? Imagine at this age now, and I'm still with a woman with that same ex-girlfriend, imagine, and it's been 7 years. Feels a lot longer time ago than that. Maybe 8. Maybe closer to 8 years now. 8 years ago, which is really not that long ago. That I had all of that. And if I had for 8 more years continue with that relationship, and I had become more financially able, I have made a lot of money, right? But I've sort of wasted it on the last chapter of my life where I've been exploring things that I had to explore, which ultimately is not that important, but in my own personal development, I had to explore them. It's trivial, but I had to go and explore them. They're not as profound. The experiences I had there are not as profound as what I got to experience with my ex-girlfriend. Getting to live the dream. But because of my ignorance, I had to let that go and go live this chapter, the last chapter of my life, where I'm single. I am experimenting with my own potential in terms of my sexual value, my sexual potency, different types of women. Essentially just being a fucking dumb playboy. I'm just this guy, bachelor, just playing around, fucking around. It's really not deep. It's so trivial and superficial. But there is a reason that I had to do that, right? I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's just because of my childhood, because of my lack of father. I didn't have a father figure. I had to figure out some other aspects of being a man that I didn't have the education for. And I had to do that alone. Maybe I could have done it with my ex-girlfriend, but I doubt it. It had to be a selfish journey. It had to be a selfish journey that I had to go on by myself. I had to do it. And I've learned from it. I've learned a lot. I have a much deeper sense of what it means to be a man. I have a much deeper sense of what's really important in my life. I've learned some skills, and I've made a lot of mistakes that I had to make. And I'm very grateful for it, and I don't regret it. This is just the karma, you know, this is just the karmic path. This is the fate that I am assigned. And I trust that it's going to lead somewhere as long as I am connected to my spirit and I answer to that, and I'm being honest, and I'm being real, and I'm being here. I'm present, and I live intentionally. I believe that this all will lead somewhere. I believe that. So now that I have experienced this and I have had this chapter, and I look forward to my future, I see that there aren't a lot of things that I would want. There aren't much more that I want. I still want the same thing. And that is, take a beautiful, spirited soul, a beautiful woman, with me to Japan. We rent a beautiful van that is capable of housing us while we travel, and we can live out of it. And Japan is pretty convenient, right? If we have that van, we can really literally live out of it, right? The facilities are so much more available for a comfortable life in Japan. Wherever we go, there is going to be bathhouses, there's going to be laundries, there's going to be toilets, even in a fucking 7-Eleven. You can eat food wherever, and it's cheap. We can absolutely do that. That would be my dream. And I get to see Japan in the deepest places that I have never explored. And I get to take my soulmate to this place to show her something that I know that the most of the world don't know exists. But I know in my spirit that it is important to me, that it's profound to see that. It is very profound to experience Japan in that depth. And for me to be able to show that to someone I love, with who I will eventually start a family with, and then I will just be a father. To me, that would be the dream. And this simplifies things. You know, when I was younger, when I made the mistake of not knowing I had that dream in my hand and letting it go, I thought I had to do all kinds of things. I thought that I had to do all these things for me to truly reach my potential. And in a way, I wasn't wrong, because I had to go on that journey to be where I am now, to know what I am talking about right now. I had to do it. There was no way around it. It is fated. It's fucking destiny. I had to do it because I was dumb. I was ignorant. The lessons I know now, I could only have had because of time. And because I was dumb, I had to go on this journey that was going to teach me what I had to learn. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, that's just, you know, you're just justifying it. You're just rationalizing it. You know, I have a friend who's like, don't believe in that at all. He's like, no, like if you were smart, you would have done the right thing. You were just dumb. And if you were if you just did the right thing, you wouldn't have any of these issues. Sure, you're right, theoretically, but life doesn't work like that. You just don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. Okay? You don't even know what you don't know. That is what ignorance is. That's what ignorance is. So like I said, it simplifies things. When I was younger, I had my head was full of ideas and I had to do all these things. I had to go and find out. I had to go and fuck around and find out, right? And I feel that I did. And lately, I have to be honest, like I don't feel any motivation to chase women. I don't feel it. Is it because I'm aging? Maybe. You know, my brain's changing, the chemistry's changing. Sure, that could be part of it. But I feel like it's at a spiritual level. Like I've just seen enough. And, you know, a part of me, right, when I became single, I was back in the market and I was going to see, okay, like, what is my value here? Like, what can I get? Can I become a ladies' man? Can I become good with women? Can I be attractive? Can I be confident? Da, 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 da. Sure, right? I did all these things. And now I just think, well, I learned what I needed to learn. But now, like, chasing women in itself is just boring. Because it's not because I don't like women. It's just they're like the same way that if you meet somebody, you're not gonna become friends with everybody. It's the same reason if there are women everywhere. There's no shortage of women. Okay, if you want to go date women, if you want a girlfriend, it's really not that hard, right? It's really not hard. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna like them. You see? And that's what I'm just saying. I just don't find, I feel like I've seen enough and I've had my experiences and now I just want this, right? I know that's what I want. Like, I want to take this girl to Japan, travel around in a van, see these fucking crazy, beautiful, spiritual things that's going to move you and just make you feel like we are so blessed that we even got to see it, right? And with that person, make babies. Like, it's like, I feel like so ready for that spiritually. There was no thought of that when I was in my 20s. Kids, oh yeah, maybe, one day. One day I'll have kids probably. Like, but it didn't have any sort of meaning. It's just, yeah, it's something that people do. People do that. People have kids, start families. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sure. That's what people do. But I didn't have like a personal connection to why I would do that, And I just had more of like selfish things I wanted to do. Like I had to go see these things. I had to go try these things because it's in my head. I had to go try it. Even if I fail, I have to try it. Because if I don't get it out of my head, it's going to just nag at me. And if I have a family, I'm going to just think about that thing I didn't do. And I'll be frustrated and I'll be hating my life and I'll be angry and I'll be resentful of my family because, I don't get to do what I want to do. Like, well, you have a fucking family now, Take care of your family. Like, don't be a shitty dad. That's the one thing I'm avoiding in my entire life, right? Love dad. Rest in peace. Love you, Dad. But he wasn't there, right? He wasn't in my life. So that's one thing I would avoid. And for me to not be that, yes, this is the journey I had to be on. And I'm 40 now, but I have a genuine feeling of a connection to what that family is about and what kind of man I have to be that man, to be that father. And this is the education that I didn't have. This is the education that I don't feel most men have. right? This is just how things are now. There's no tradition, there's no values, there's nothing. There's nothing really binding us together, right? I've seen enough. I've seen enough. There's really that. Only thing that really matters in the end is that, right? Your family. And you being the best man you can possibly be. It's not complicated at all. It really isn't. You have to be strong. You have to be resourceful. You have to be compassionate. You have to be loving. You have to be gentle. And you will provide. And you will protect. As a man. As a strong man. For the family. And you give them a spiritual home. You give them a spiritual home. It's not just the physical, material things. That doesn't really matter, really. You know? As long as they're like comfortable, that's okay. Everything else is extra. But you need to provide them with a spiritual home. Because there is nothing else. There's nothing else. There is nothing else to leave them, to teach them. That's the one thing that's going to make them feel they are loved and they're safe and they are in good hands. And they have to be in a place where that is normal. You have to. Because if everybody around you is not doing that, everybody around you is broken and chaotic and just seduced and distracted and broken, you're not safe. Okay, you can't sustain that. It's a spiritual home in a place like that. You can't. You'll just be exhausted. But I feel it exists in Japan. Probably exists in a lot of places, but the one that I resonate most with is in Japan because of its connection to nature, the culture of gratitude, the culture of appreciation, honor, respect, the way of doing things. There is a way for everything, right? And that resonates with me. It's not about religion. Although Japanese people are very superstitious. They pray. They care. They care, you know? That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And that's what I want now. That's what I want. It's simple. It's very simple now. It took a while, but I know. It took a while, but I know now. God bless.